Everybody's making their mock drafts so sane and normal. Why don't we try to do an insane Jets heavy mock? It's coming right at you next. Hi everybody, welcome back to JetsHQ. I'm Howie, glad to be back with you. Thank you guys so much for all the comments on my last mock draft, the one with the trades. Really gratified to see how many people watched it and agreed or disagreed with me. Some people called me flat out crazy, but you know, it's all the mocks are crazy. You know, depending on where you think that the teams are going to make the trades. Somebody's going to go nuts in this draft. There's going to be a lot of trades in the top 15, so when they happen on draft day, everybody's going to call them crazy too. So those were my opinions, and you know, I'm glad to see people who agreed and disagreed with me. I love to see the conversation going on. So I'm very happy about that, and thank you guys for the comments, good and bad. But I got another comment just recently, and it made me think. I wanted to go into it. Now, the last mock draft that I did actually really ended up favoring the 49ers because they ended up with two really good trades that I thought would be likely to happen. But somebody said, is it possible for this to happen with the Jets? And I thought about it. So Louis Attiles wrote, and he wrote a long comment. I'll put it up on the screen here for you. But basically what he wanted to know was, could this type of craziness happen at the Jets slot? Could the Jets end up making a couple of trades down and picking up a lot of good value? And I thought about it, and of course it's possible. A couple of things have to happen just right, but it's possible. So I figured, why not take a look at what Lewis was asking, and let's see what would make it happen that way. So we'll start right off, and we'll just set the stage. Basically, what we have to do first is we have to see the first two picks in the draft. We have to get on the board. So none of this can happen until the Jets got on the board, because nobody knows who's going where. So the Cardinals, with the first pick, if they bypass Kyler Murray and end up taking Nick Bosa, that could start the stage. That could set the stage for the chain of events that could follow. Now, in order for the Jets to really benefit from it, the 49ers kind of have to, I don't know if the word is, you know, go crazy, or they have to ignore the value that's out there, but they have to, you know, leave some value on the board for the Jets, and that value would be Kyler Murray. And if obviously the Jets don't want Kyler Murray, they would make a trade. But the Niners would have to either ignore the trade-out scenarios, or they would have to just take who they think that they want and pick up Quinnen Williams, the defensive tackle from Alabama. So the first two picks off the board, Nick Bosa and Quinnen Williams, now it falls to the Jets where the craziness can happen. Now, is that a likely scenario? Not really, but it is possible. It's within the realm of possibility. So let's say that in this particular case, that's exactly what happens, and now the Jets are on the board. So in order for the Jets to maximize the value for this pick, they can make a big trade and trade way down and pick up first-round picks and third-round picks next year. They can pick up all kinds of things. But in this particular scenario, I said, why don't we see if the Jets can do it methodically and meticulously and pick up even more value in this draft. So what I have them doing in this particular case at number 3 is tempting the Raiders, who now see that Kyler Murray is still on the board and can be picked up for the number 3 pick in the draft. That's a lot of money saved between the number 1 slot and the number 3 slot for signing the draft pick. So in this case, the Raiders could be tempted into moving up the 1 space when the Jets obviously are going to trade out and trade. Whatever team trades in is going to pick Kyler Murray ahead of the Raiders. So in order for the Raiders to block that, they'd have to make a deal with the Jets. So in this particular case, the Jets will swap the 3rd and the 4th pick. They'll end up moving down 1 slot, and the Raiders will give the Jets the number 27 pick in the first round. Now, I thought about only giving the Jets the 35 because the Raiders have a very good second-round pick. But they have 3 first-round picks, and I think that in this particular case, the Jets would say, we don't want your 35 because we can trade out and pick up a couple of firsts and some other players or a second-round pick and move down further. So the Raiders would be forced into giving the Jets the last of their first-round picks, which is the number 27. So the Jets move down to number 4. The Raiders move up to number 3, and they take Kyler Murray. So now the Jets are sitting at number 4, and they're in the same situation again. Now it's Dwayne Haskins, of course, so it's a little bit more obsequious. You never know who's going to want him, but in this particular case, as we spoke about in my last video, the Giants really need to come out of this draft with Dwayne Haskins. So in this particular case, and I don't think the Jets are going to get a deal done with the Giants, but in this particular case, they might be able to force the deal into a Giants trade, into a trade with the Giants, because they know that they're going to trade out of the 4 pick, and somebody's going to trade up to pick Dwayne Haskins. So in this case, they could trade their 4 and move down to the 6 with the Giants, and the Giants would move up to pick Dwayne Haskins. What would we get for that? Well, I'm going to say that in order to move down, the Giants will have to give us that number 17 pick that they have in the first round. Is that a likely thing? Once again, that's a tough one. It's probably not too likely, but the Jets could strong-arm them, because if they can strong-arm the Giants here, because they know the Giants have to get Haskins. They're not in position to pick up Tua next year, because the Dolphins obviously are going to be in the driver's seat for that. So in order to get Haskins, the Jets are going to threaten to trade with the Broncos. So the Giants will move up. They'll give their number 4, their number 6 and the number 17 to swap places with the Jets at number 4. So the Jets have executed their second trade. They've now picked up a 27. They've now picked up the 17, and they're moved down to 6. So far, it's a great day for the Jets. Okay, so now the Jets are at the number 6 pick. The Giants move up to number 4, and they select Dwayne Haskins, quarterback from Ohio State. Congratulations to the Giants. You've traded your future away, and you have a pocket passing quarterback for Dave Gettleman, who's an old school guy who wants a pocket passer. Guy threw for 1 million touchdowns at Ohio State last year, so he's probably the best shot for them. They had to give up Odell Beckham Jr. to do it, but here they are. So anyway, now the Jets are at number 6. So you have the number 5 pick, the Buccaneers, and the Buccaneers are saying, this is fantastic for us. There's a fantastic blue chip guy left on the board, and we're going to go ahead and take him. So they take Josh Allen, the outside linebacker from Kentucky. They're very pleased at number 5 to have Josh Allen fall to them because of all this craziness for quarterbacks. So now the Jets are on the board at number 6. So once again, there's a situation that the Jets could exploit. The Broncos covet Drew Lock very badly, and we know that there's one other team that's still out there that wants to trade up ahead of the Broncos to get Drew Lock, and that's the Redskins. So the Jets prepare a deal with the Redskins and scare the crap out of the Broncos and try to strong-arm Elway, which isn't that difficult because John Elway is just not that great an executive, and he wants Drew Lock no matter what. So he's going to make a deal with the Jets at the number 6 slot. In order for the Jets to trade all the way back to number 10 and bring the Broncos up to number 6, the Jets are going to get the number 10 pick, of course. They're going to get the 2nd and 3rd of the Broncos, which is the 41st pick and the 71st pick, and they're going to get a 2020 number 1 from the Broncos. So now the Jets have picked up a number 1 from next year, which will probably be a really good one because the Broncos aren't going to be that good. And we've picked up a 2nd and a 3rd as well as the 2 other firsts. So now we're sitting at number 10. Now, one of the other possibilities here, so that Lewis had asked me, there's another person had asked me about was whether or not the Jets could actually pick up players. And it's not beyond the realm of possibility that the Broncos, who are rebuilding, do offer Von Miller, who's got a $25 million contract. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that instead of that number 1 pick or instead of the 2 and the 3, the Jets could accept Von Miller and get their outside rusher, a very good one, the best one in the league. So that's not too crazy. But right now I'm just mocking some picks. So we're going to say that's a possibility, but we're going to take the picks. We're going to take the 2 and the 3 and the 1 next year and move down to number 10. So now you've got 6 through 9 that's going to go in front of the Jets. So the Broncos move up and they take Drew Lock, a quarterback from Missouri. So everybody that wanted has gotten their quarterback, and they've all gotten them through the Jets. And the Jets have made out like bandits, just kind of like the 49ers did in my last mock draft. So the Jets have done really well. So now you get the Jaguars, and they take Jawan Taylor, the offensive tackle from Florida. The Lions go with Rashawn Gary, the defensive tackle from Michigan. And the Bills take Ed Oliver, who's just a tremendous value left on the board there, defensive tackle out of Houston. So those are the 3 picks that go there, and of course the 4th one being Drew Lock. and now the Jets are sitting on the clock at 10. So I don't think there's any more trade down possibilities at this point. So let's just take a look at what the Jets got out of this scenario. So the Jets picked up the 10, and they moved down from their 3. And in so doing, they picked up the number 17 in the first round. They picked up the number 27 in the first round. And they also picked up the number 41 and the number 71, which would be a second and a third round pick. And they also have their own pick at number 68. So I just want to kind of mock out what we would get with those picks. So instead of taking the 3 and making all those trades, here's what the Jets will end up with. At number 10, the Jets are going to take the best pass rusher that's on the board. And there is a seriously good one there. Now, I thought about Montez Sweat here in this position, but he has one little problem, and it's a heart condition. It really scares me. I think he's the best pass rusher on the board, and he's super fast, and he'd be very much like Josh Allen, but I'm just too afraid to pick a guy who's going to turn out to be a fantastic player and then have to retire after 2 or 3 years because of a heart condition. So I'm going to skip over Montez Sweat here. I just wanted you to know why. But I think what we'll end up doing is take Brian Burns, the outside linebacker from Florida State. He's a mammoth. He's a monster. He's fast. He's probably almost, if not better, than Montez Sweat. So it's a really good pick here, and he's safer. No medical issues and no off-the-field issues with him. So we're going to take Brian Burns with the number 10 pick. So now we've got the 17 and the 27 in the first round, which really will help us solidify our offensive line. So at number 17, we're going to go ahead and take Jonah Williams, the offensive tackle from Alabama. I think the best offensive tackle in the draft. Jawan Taylor doesn't have the short arm problems. I don't think Jonah Williams has short arm problems, but I think that a lot of people think Jawan Taylor might be better. So Jonah Williams is left for us at number 17. So we have Brian Burns and Jonah Williams so far that we've taken. Now with the 27th pick, the Jets are left with a plethora of centers that they can take, and the best one is still on the board. We're going to take Garrett Bradbury, the center from NC State, and take the best center in the draft and put him right in the middle of our line, which we desperately need. So we've saved a ton of money by not signing a center for $12 million a year or $9.5 million a year, which would have been Matt Party's. And we get a 5-year protected center with the number 27 pick, which is very low cost to us, and development into a Nick Mangold, hopefully. That would be fantastic. So then we end up with Garrett Bradbury at the 27. With the number 41 pick, the Jets are going to go ahead and plug that hole that we've got at cornerback, and we'll take DeAndre Baker out of Georgia, which is fantastic value at this pick, and definitely a hole that the Jets need to fill. So we would end up with DeAndre Baker, cornerback, Georgia, there with number 41, excuse me. Then our own pick is the number 68 pick, and we could surely use a wide receiver, and the best one that would be left on the board at that point is probably Riley Ridley. Riley Ridley also out of Georgia. We're grabbing the Georgia team here. So Riley Ridley, the wide receiver out of Georgia with our number 68, our own pick there. And then we're left with the 71 that we picked up in the trades here. So once again, we're going to try to add another cornerback here, I think. The best one that's left is Amani Oruwariye. Amani Oruwariye. We'll be able to say it right when he's making interceptions for the Jets. So we'll pick him up. He's a cornerback out of Penn State. And get him for the number 71 pick. So I think with all the trading down, this is a best case dreamland scenario. Did it for you because you asked me to see how it would work out for the Jets if everything fell their way. So for the number 3 pick, we end up getting Brian Burns, Jonah Williams, Garrett Bradbury, DeAndre Baker, Riley Ridley, and Amani Oruwariye. 2 cornerbacks, a wide receiver, an offensive tackle, a center, and our edge rusher. So that is a very, very hopeful scenario, but as long as we're being crazy, might as well mock it out here to see how it would work. And if everything fell the right way, it's possible that it could happen. So, Mike McCagnon, it's on you. Make this happen, okay? Because this will make you a money. We'll carve a mountain with your face in it if you can make this happen. So, anyway, I just wanted to give you guys the crazy, Jets-heavy, trade-heavy mock draft that you've all been asking me for. I appreciate the comments. I really do. Good and bad, and I know this is nuts, so I'm going to get a ton of comments from this anyway, but you guys wanted to know what the best case scenario was and if it all fell right for the Jets. So please do me a favor, guys. Give me a like on the video if you like it. Go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot more things, and remember, we're going to be doing live streaming for the first round of the draft. So that's April 25th. I can't wait to be here with you guys for that. We're going to do a lot of talking, a lot of discussion, and see how, if any of our mocks turn out right. See if the Jets hopefully don't flub this one, because this is a super powerful draft with lots of talent. So anyway, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you being here. Can't wait to see you in the next video. We're going to be doing a whole bunch more stuff and come out with a brand new mock here pretty soon. I got to do the second half of the mock with trades that we did in the previous video. This was just a kind of an aside for a viewer question. So anyway, thank you guys again. I appreciate it. Thanks for joining me, and let's go Jets.